Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our weekly trade and tariff briefing. I'm Chase Boley, the Business Development Manager at World Trade Center, Utah, and I have the pleasure of facilitating today's conversation. If you're here for the first time, this weekly webinar series is intended to provide you with the latest information about trade and tariffs. And you can view our previous webinars on our YouTube channel and find updates to our tariff dashboard on our website, which we'll link in the chat below for you. So today we're excited to hear first from Ben Kolendar, Chief of Staff at World Trade Center Utah, just about the updates on the World Trade Center Utah tariff dashboard. And then we'd like to welcome back Bryce Judy, the CEO of Tarifflo. Tarifflo is doing some impressive work in two areas. First, they're helping companies recover tariff overpayments that may have resulted from misclassified HTS codes. An impressive stat that they actually shared with us is that roughly 15% of codes are misclassified. So this means that companies may have paid more than they should have. And then secondly, they're helping companies reclaim IEPA payments following the Supreme Court's recent ruling. So for many companies, this creates a real opportunity to potentially recover funds that were previously paid. So if you're interested in connecting with Tarifflo, World Trade Center Utah will help facilitate these introductions. And I know my email will be put in the chat to do so, or you can even visit us at World Trade Center Utah and just select contact us on our homepage, and then send in your request to connect to Tarifflo. So once Bryce finishes up, we'll then open it up to some Q&A. But it's all yours, Ben.
All right, thanks, Chase. I'm going to share my screen here. Can everybody see that? This is our dashboard. No news here in terms of how to get here. It's wtcutah.com/tariffs. But again, we always repeat it just in case it's your first time here. There's also a link to join these webinars. So we do get a lot of questions about that. It's easy to share. Just share our tariff page, and the link is right here at the top so people can sign up and join if you want to invite anybody else to join these conversations. So I'm going to start here today. In our last discussion, we talked about, look, with the Supreme Court making the decision around IEPA, the two legal mechanisms we expect to be expanded are going to be 232 and 301 tariffs. We already know 122 is in place. I know these are a lot of numbers for those of you unfamiliar with tariffs, but um, we are seeing that take place both with and we're going to talk about a 301 tariff here at the top, and as well some of the 232s we're going to discuss afterwards. So to kick us off, the administration announced a 301 investigation on 16 of the United States trading partners. And this 301 tariff really applies to any industry that is not, let's say, the service industry. Anybody producing goods should be looking at this 301 and considering comment. So what this will do, essentially, this 301, it's aimed at goods with structural excess capacity in production and manufacturing sectors. So think of yourself if you're producing any goods, there are whatever your inputs to the goods are or the manufactured goods, you want to be considering how they may be impacted by potential 301 tariffs. This is in many ways replacing IEPA tariffs. So we're expecting this to be broad, but it's really important to get public comment in while you can, because getting public comment in ensures that your voice is considered in the process. So USTR and BIS, when they send out these public notices, they have to consider every substantive comment seriously when they're outlining the tariffs and implementing them. So it gives companies recourse for, legal action down the road if you don't feel your comment was adequately heard or considered in the process. There are all kinds of reasons that you want to provide comment, and companies really need to weigh whether it's public or private. And there are many mechanisms, and it's in the listing as well of or it will be when it's available of like how to do both of those. So right now, just the investigation has been launched. So I'm going to click the link because to show everybody, well, if my internet's going to work here, it's slowing down. But we have the link right here on our dashboard that you can go in and see what the case is, what the countries are, the background, the purpose, and all the details are right there. When the public comment is open, it will be right here. So you can click it, go in, provide comment during the open comment window. So going into we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to skip over um, the sit case, come back to that last because it's going to lead into to Bryce's agenda item today. But we're gonna jump around a little bit and go to critical minerals. I'm raising this because there's an open public comment until March 19th. So if you're a company doing processed critical minerals or critical minerals in general, you want to be paying attention to this and considering public comment. So you can click the Federal Register. This is what that 301 will look like. You go down and it gives you all kinds of different considerations. But basically, this is around a plurilateral agreement on strengthening our supply chains for critical minerals and how, in particular, 232 tariffs, which are national security tariffs, will be used to help strengthen our supply chains for national security purposes. So, if you're in that space, know but somebody in that space, you'll want to share that link with them or our dashboard to encourage them to go take a look and consider comment for all the same reasons that we talked about for the 301. Um, a quick update on the 122 tariffs. This is a new tariff that we talked about last time. It's limited in its ability um, for indefinite implementation. So these have a 150-day window that they can be active in Section 122. Just one update is that 24 states sued over the 122 tariffs. And so there's a link to this announcement with further details here. But just to be paying attention to how that lawsuit progresses, we'll be tracking that. We'll provide updates as we go along. But what's a good I'm going to cover last and what's important to lead into the conversation on refunds is the sit case. So last Friday we had said we expect some updates later in the day around what what will the Supreme Court do on this? We knew they had a closed door meeting with Customs. The result was that the CIT, the Court of International Trade, suspended the order to Customs that they had to process refunds. They suspended it because Customs is working on a refund process that should be ready within 45 days of that closed door meeting. So we're tracking that around April 20th. And so just to say, we have not complete certainty, but at least an idea of what it could look like for a refund around these tariffs and what that timeline or process will be. So with that, I'm going to pause because that's a lot of deep tariff updates and numbers and 122s and 301s and 232s. And if you're just living in this world, it's common, but if you're not, it could be overwhelming. So I'm going to go silent now and pass it over to Bryce to talk more in depth about the refunds, what to look for, and some resources to consider.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna catch or go right where you left off, Ben, and go right back into that Court of International Trade. The declaration from Customs responding to their request. So they released how the process is going to be for the IEPA refunds. And so that's going to be through the ACE portal. They're going to have this new system called CAPE. And that's going to be the ACE capability for processing your IEPA refunds at scale. So the importer or the broker will need to submit these claims through this portal. They said it's going to be just CSV upload and be able to process these at scale. They're going to remove the IEPA HTS codes for each of these entries, and then they're going to recalculate. And they also said that they're going to be auditing these and then liquidating it. So they're between 40 and 80% done, they said, and then that will be phased rollout. So as an importer, the things that you need to do right now to get ready for this is each importer actually needs an ACE account. So if you don't have an ACE account, you'll need to apply for one, and we'll be sending out just kind of like a one pager to Chase to forward to everyone that's interested in instructions of how to create an ACE account, how to sign up for the ACH, because that's how all refunds are going to be dispersed. And then also getting your documents together and ready to go as soon as this is opened up. So that's going to be through an ACE report. So you need ACE access to do so with an ES003. That's the easiest way to show all entries that are applying your IEPA refunds. Once you have that as well, if you're just curious on the number of like the dollar amount of your IEPA refunds, we have a free tool on our website that will also include in that one pager that Chase can send out or forward. And that will give you just a full breakdown of what you can expect to get back for your IEPA refunds. So, and then also getting all of your packets together. We don't know the exact documents that they're going to be requiring, supporting documents, but this is good practice anyway. Make sure that you have all your original 7501s, entry packets, that's commercial invoice, and all documents that went in with that original entry. And then any supplemental product information, because we are expecting potentially some pushback on or more intense auditing on these entries. So that's kind of what everyone needs to do right now. How we're planning on helping out with this, we're both helping with the IEPA refund process, but also this information that you're going to need for that is the same information we take in to do the bulk HTS audits. And so we take in, like Jason mentioned, we're finding about 1 in 8 dollars spent on duties outside of IEPA that we're able to get back for companies because just misclassifications, incorrectly applied rate stacking, and just some nuance within the manual entry process for filing. So our system will take in those entry packets you guys provide, the ES003, and we'll be able to identify more money on top of IEPA that we can file and reclaim for you. This is a good practice anyway, just to verify that all the information that you provided originally to customs is correct, so that we can, just be all dialed in just in case they are more intense scrutinizing your entries for dispersing the IEPA money there. So just some more information about our system that our deep learning system that we've built is outperforming licensed customs brokers and aligning your HTS codes with what customs rules specifically for that. So given a product description, if you were to submit to customs and request a binding ruling, our system is outperforming licensed brokers in aligning those rulings with what customs would give. So that's what our system does is we take in, your product information, your technical information that you provide.
Are you there, Chase? I wonder if
No, I'm
Bryce is
there. I
around.
think it's Bryce's. Hey, Bryce, can you hear us? It just cut out for probably the last like 20 seconds or so.
Oh no. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
We
you're
can.
good.
You're good.
Oh man. Okay, where did I cut out?
Ooh, if maybe like I said, it was probably just like the last 20 seconds you were speaking, it cut out for. So, uh, yeah, it might be good just to take it from the top on the slide.
Oh yeah. So yeah, just a high level overview of what our system, our deep learning system does for reclassifications and why it's so trusted in the industry. We've been working with some of the top importers in the United States with this system to audit their products at scale. Um, and that's because it's aligned with what CBP would rule on a binding ruling more so than what licensed customs brokers are able to do. So we process these at scale. We give you the best ruling possible for that product, and then we find the delta there for savings. And we give you a full breakdown of the rationale in case of an audit or any scrutiny from customs. So we're happy to help out both on the IEPA front, helping you guys get through that process, whether or not we're the ones that are doing the processing for you. And then obviously being able to run this audit report. And this is pure contingency. We only obviously take a cut if you guys do as soon as that money is dispersed from customs. So happy to answer any questions and we'll send that information out to the World Trade Center so that can be a resource to you guys.
Bryce, while folks are thinking of questions, I think it's so great to have you on, and the way that you're talking through this is exactly how we're encouraging businesses to think. Be proactive, go on offense. A lot of the early days of these tariffs, there's an easy way to think about this in terms of, being paralyzed, not knowing what to do. And so like get collecting those tools as a business is really important to know what your options are, how to be preparing. And so just appreciate having you on. Well, folks, that I would just mention that while folks are thinking through some questions to ask. So yeah, would love to welcome questions from the audience as well. So while we wait for them, I'm just going to ask another question then, Bryce. I wonder what, if you can, one other thing businesses love from us is the crystal ball, right? Like looking forward, what's this look like? I wonder if you could share any unique perspectives, so being so deep in this world on the technicals and with customs and with the refund process and what that looks like. Um, are there any anecdotes or things that you're seeing that would be helpful for you're just like, in your day to day, companies should just know this one thing or these two things um, that just people aren't paying attention to right now. I wonder if you have any of that comes to mind.
Let's see. Looking to the future, I guess we don't have any, I could make my predictions, but we don't have, we're mostly relying on all the data that gets released as it's released in real time. And I think that's the biggest thing is just being able to understand the data as it's coming through and how it actually applies to your products. As well as this audit, it's so expensive to do traditionally, like that it's just unreachable. And so we're finding just yesterday we found $2.4 million in refunds for one company, and then just last week it was 950,000 for another company. And there's just so much money left here on the table from just simple misclassifications of, just but they're very detailed, right? They're very technical. And so being able to see that at scale for your products is just previously unreachable and now it is reachable with technology. But so yeah, looking to the future, I don't know that I have a clear answer for you, but I would say just the data that's present right now, being able to understand how that applies to your specific products and catalog, I think is the most important thing so you can actually make strategic decisions.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you for that. As you were speaking to that, Will Fiedler, he had a question, which was, how do these refunds affect? Oh,
The
it just
Main Street consumer
yeah, yeah.
or the Main Street, average business or consumer.
Yeah, so like a small business type thing. Okay, so both on the AIPA portion and the traditional refunds that our company processes, we actually do this for some small and medium-sized businesses as well. Um, just the other day, we met with a company actually that we met through the World Trade Center. They had paid just over 100,000 in duties, and we found just major issues from the filing that their broker had done. They hadn't broken down each part individually and had kind of taken the easy route there and grouped all the parts together as one. Well, that mistake was over a $70,000 mistake that they had made. So our system really quickly picked up on it. We filed it, got approved by customs, and now we're just waiting for that money to come back into their account from customs. So it doesn't matter if you're importing hundreds of millions of dollars or just a couple imports for $100,000 of duties that you've paid. A lot of times to be honest, there are a lot of shortcuts taken because they're getting paid per entry and not getting paid to be really detailed with it. So, anyway, sometimes we come back with nothing for these small companies, but a lot of times we are finding and sometimes very sizable returns for them as well.
So what I'm hearing from you is like, you know, typically the cost is too high for a regular business, a smaller business to go about these things. But just with what you guys are doing, it's just a share of whatever revenue comes in, and it's a process that your system can just do on the back end. And so it drastically reduces the size of your company and the size of your filing to go in, like it makes it pencil easier, right? So
Exactly.
Chase, we have another comment in there. I don't know if you're seeing it.
Oh yeah. So with that, just Mark Whitlock wanted to say for what it's worth, he said signing up for ACE, Custom Borders Patrol PMS account. He said it's relatively easy, and Customs and Border Patrol response is relatively fast. So I know it might look intimidating to get signed up for some of those things, but from his experience, it's not as hard as it may seem to be. Awesome.
So I have
Great.
a
Yeah.
random curveball question. We saw um, Costco had filed suit to get their refunds. It looks like they're going to get them now. But the interesting thing is now you see consumers, like members of Costco, looking at suing Costco because Costco got the refunds. And then in some cases, I haven't read through the details of the suit, but I'm assuming those tariffs were passed through to the consumer. So there are going to be interesting arguments here. I wonder if you've been looking at anything on that front. I know it's a little out of scope, and this is probably down the road on a legal, law firm, uh, sort of service provider, maybe that we can have on board later. But seeing that, tracking that, is that one thing to consider in any way when seeking your refund, or for now, it's just like seek the refund and figure out the rest later?
Yeah, regardless of what happens with that type of lawsuit and what precedent gets set, you're still going to need the refunds back in your account, so you can either pay that out to your customers or be able to keep that in your coffers. So yeah, regardless, you're going to need the refunds,
Great.
and hopefully we can find more on top of that for you. So even if you have to pay out all of your IEPA refunds to your customers, you can still keep the other refunds that are identified.
Great. Great.
And Bryce, maybe a question that I had that might be good for those on the webinar to know, like from the time people typically start working with Tarifflo to look into like misclassified HTS codes, or maybe with like the IEPA tariffs, like how long does that normally take for things to get processed and to see what those potential refunds might be?
Yeah, so for potential IEPA refunds, as soon as you get your ES003, that's instant through our website. You can just get that back without interfacing with anybody. For identifying misclassifications and filing those, it's a bit longer process. We get it processed pretty quickly and get back to you, usually within that day or the next day. And then once that gets back and your team approves it, then the broker will file and we have to wait for customs to then approve, and that can take up to 30 days to get the approval, and then another 60 days for disbursement after that. So we are looking at, a 90-day timeline for actually or longer depending on customs at the time, but to be able to get the money actually back to your account. But our flip round will be able to get the identified refunds and the IEPA refunds back to you very, very quickly.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And during that, we had one more question pop up from Randall Heath. So he was wondering if you could tell him. He said, if a business needs, okay, can you tell me what, if anything, a business needs to do to get a refund? He said we purchased a piece of equipment last year and paid 28,000 in tariffs.
Yeah, so kind of there's a two-part to this. There's the IEPA refunds, and then there's the regular tariffs that you paid. So we can identify potentially a recovery for both of those. So for IEPA, you're going to sign up for our ACE portal account, and we're happy to help out where we can, or the World Trade Center can as well. ACE portal account, you're going to sign up for ACH refunds. And then after we get the approval and the green light from CBP, you're going to upload those entries into that portal, and then they'll automatically calculate your refund for IEPA portion, and that will get dispersed back to your account. For um, for the other portion, we'll audit the HTS codes used on your original entry, identify if there was a misclassification there that led to overpayment, and we'll return that back to you, and then that will get filed so you can get the refunds on that portion as well.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, that was the questions that came through. So just wanted to thank you, Ben and Bryce, for taking the time to speak with us today. And thank you for everybody that tuned in this week. If anybody has questions or especially wants to be connected to Bryce with Tarifflo, feel free to reach out to me. I know my email was put in the chat, but also you can go to the World Trade Center Utah website and just go to our contact us portion and mention that you'd like to be connected to Tarifflo. But yeah, please feel free to visit our website to learn more about upcoming events. But we look forward to seeing you next Friday. But yeah, thank you again.